It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
Hello, model citizens. Welcome to Humanity Junction. This is part 2 of the 80th birthday build using the Motorman and a Central New Jersey, or Jersey Central, however you want to say it, RDC. And we are going to get this finished tonight, is at least the plan. We're doing the wiring, so it should go lickety-split, lickety-quick. I did do a couple little things to prep, but we're getting there. It looks like Wigwag's got a little bit of a power outage. That's a little disappointing there. Bernard says I don't look 80. I hope I don't look a day over 80. I'm only 79 3/4. Do you have a poll going tonight? And I think this question came up last night, if I'm not mistaken, but essentially the question is, do you use a UPS or power conditioner for your model railroad? 19% says yes they do, 12% says 90% says they use a UPS, 11% says a power conditioner, and then 70%, I can't get over how many people are living on the edge, don't use anything. People don't know UPS is basically an uninterruptible power supply. There are different ones with different features, but the ones that I use essentially help regulate the voltage as well as deal with any outages should they come up. You know, Lynn, funny you say that. I do feel a little stuffy, but not too bad. Not too bad at all. So hopefully doing pretty good. Yeah, Thomas, Roy and I were talking a little earlier. Both of us use Cyber Power. We both use Pure Sine Wave, the PFC series, as well as AVR, which is automatic voltage regulation. Sparks is what I thought we were chatting about, a shipping company. You know, we're talking about power. We're talking about power. Let's take a moment and say hello to all of the fine people that have joined us this evening, and we'll also say hello to everybody else that's here. Adam Cruz, welcome. Hope you're making dinner and aren't too tired. Awesome America Model Railroading Artie's in the house. Tim from CP368 Productions. David Z to Jason here as well. Derail Daryl, who is becoming a regular live streamer himself. Conrail 8098 in the house. Dwight Curley's here. Eddie Pappert's here as well. Gerard Stewart, Georgia Sunbelt. Lauren Hurwitz is in the house. Low Country Railroad. Lynn McCurdy in the High Desert Modular Model Railroad Club. Bernard from Mini Prints, one of the channel sponsors, joining us as well. Norm Miller, who is our 80-year-old birthday gift recipient. Well, he hasn't gotten it yet, but theoretically, if nothing blows up tonight, he'll be getting it shortly. Dennis from the Otter Creek and Rio Grande's here. Art from PDR, our engineer. Roy Eltham's in the house. Thomas Splitrock 323, the High Plains Railroads here. Thomas Grassi, Trackside Mike, and not last, not least, Stephen, I always say that about you, don't I? It's Wigwag Workshop. Mr. Jimbo Trains looks like he's jumping in. Low Country Railroads joining us as well. Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out tonight. DB Tech says his beer is frozen. That's a good way to ruin the evening right there. So I am going to jump right into this build because I actually do have a little thing to fix as well. I don't know if I knocked it out or if it was knocked out or whatnot, but there's a window that got knocked out of the RDC, and if we've got enough time after I get this all set up, we'll take that apart and see if I can't not cause any trouble and get that window back in. Dennis, thanks so much. 3718 saying we can do a little better. He's talking about hitting some of those thumbs up as well. So Heath, when I turn 80 in a few years, what are you going to build me? Lynn, you got to tell me what you want. This is something that Norm Miller's been talking about for a little while. Not so much the Motorman idea, but talking about seeing the RDCs as a kid. So I asked if he had space for something like this, and he said he'll figure it out. So that's where we're at. Just to recap a little bit, the Motorman's going to be the heart of this system. The RDC that I have that's actually running right back there, you can see it coming back across right now, is DC only. We could have used the AR2 from Circuitron because it's DC only, but the Motorman's great, easy, you know, if he decides to get other locomotives or anything like that, he'll be all set with the Motorman. We got two pieces of track, one that's got a feeder built into it, both Kato Unitrack. They are this stuff right here, Code 83 Unitrack. These feeder tracks are part number 2-153. We also have some extension tracks 2-152 and some bumpers 2-170 so we don't lose the train off the ends. Last time we were here, I took some double-sided tape and I secured the sensors to the bottom. I did add hot glue, so both of them now have hot glue on the bottom of it. So Mr. Jimbo Trains is asking, so the Motorman supplies track power? Yes. The Motorman is a DC or DCC device. It takes a power supply that's provided by them, and it supplies the track power. So everything is built right into it. With the Circuitron that I'm using over here on the side, I have a separate controller for it. So a little more wiring to do, not as compact. So that is the the process. Lynn, I like living on the edge myself a little bit. So yes, I asked the question. Connor on nuts. That is not an O scale boxcar. I'll let you look at it a little bit more. Maybe you'll figure out what it actually is over there. Split Rock saying, what is everybody working on tonight? So tonight's plan is to get the Motorman out of the box. We're going to wire everything up, and we're going to test it. So I did get this little adapter cord right here. I happen to just have it in my bag of tricks. This little adapter cord is going to match up with the adapter feeder from the track. So the goal is that I'm going to wire everything in, and I can leave it all wired, and the only thing he'll need to do is put together the track, and it'll all be set and ready to go. Trackside Mike says, Heath, do you use stay alives on your locomotives? 99% of my DCC stuff is N scale, and there are very few keep alive options for N scale that don't require cutting into the shell or cutting into the, the weights that are inside of it. So I do not have any keep alives in any of my N scale stuff. But I'm hoping that manufacturers are going to start putting it in as a standard item. But we'll see. Let's go back. Let's open. What else do we have? Do we have anything else we need to talk about before we get started? I love the Motorman. I own 3 of them. I can mention these are Motormans right here. This one's controlling the N scale, which is actually a DCC locomotive, and the other one's controlling the HO scale, which is the locomotive that's going to be given away as the gift, but we're just breaking it in over here. So I've got 2. Now bought this 3rd one here as a gift. I think they're fantastic. Dennis, only if I don't get distracted too many times by random questions by random people. So another thing, so 2 things that I did while people weren't here and watching. I did the hot glue, as I mentioned. The other thing that I did, and let's see if I zoom in a little bit, if we'll be able to see this. The other thing that I did is I cut a slot in the track. And the reason I cut a slot in the track is that what we're going to do is the cable for the sensor is going to plug into that hole right there, and then it'll run out through the little slot. You can see I've numbered these. If I zoom out a little bit, you can see I've numbered these 1 and 2. The idea being is that then I can number the cables as well, so there's no confusion there. Sean says, Heath, as a gift, how did you know it was my birthday? Sean, I knew it was your birthday. I didn't realize you were 80 years old, though. That was the part I did not realize. So let's see. Hey, if you're new around here, I'd love to know it, just so that we could all say hello to everybody. I do see a couple more people popping in. Southern Yankee Trains, Joe Rader's coming in. Let's see, Mr. Jimbo Trains came in since I said hello. Split Rock's here. DB Tech, I think I said Sean McGee. John Benicki's here. If I missed you, I apologize. Thank you. Let's open this box up just so we can kind of see where we're going. Once again, for those of you that weren't here on Sunday, here's the manual. We're just going to toss that off to the side because we don't need that. Gerard was here. Gerald was here last week, so I guess someone's got to be here, right? Track bumpers are still in the package. Some of this I haven't opened yet, right? I mean, this is we started Sunday. Did open the Motorman, did open some stuff, so nothing's on fire yet, Rayron. Nothing's on fire yet. So power supply comes with the unit. Comes with the Motorman. We've got the cables for the sensors. I've already put the sensors on the tracks. They do come connected, and they come in this little bag. These connectors do not come with it, but I had put them in there so I didn't lose them. Here's the second wire, and then we have the Motorman itself. Let's not lose that piece of paper. Motorman's a pretty simple little device here. The power comes in here at the top, which provided right there. So power goes in the top. The track power is going to go here into this little connector. and then the 2 sensors wire in on this side. On Sunday, I was asked whether you can control accessories. Yes, this can control DCC accessories. So there are intermediate left and intermediate right sensors you can hook up, and you could set those up to trigger a turnout or something, or turn on lights. The other thing that you can do with this that I didn't actually realize is it has 2 forward functions and 2 backward functions in DCC. So if you have a DCC locomotive and you want to set it up that when it goes forward, it, you know, dings the bell and does jumping jacks, and then when it goes backwards that it, you know, blows the horn and does, you know, some other exercise, you can also set that up in this device. So it's actually, it's pretty diverse for a DCC reversing system. So I you know, highly recommend this. So let's start with the power, because that's the easy thing to wire, and I don't need to look at the manual to wire up the power. As disappointing as this is going to sound to some people, yes, I am going to take out the manual when I go to wire up the sensors, just to make sure that I am putting the right sensor in the right spot. With DCC, it doesn't matter which way you wire it. You know, it's indifferent. For DC, it also does not matter which way you wire it, unless you want it to start in one direction or the other, and then you could just flip it. But for our purposes, doesn't matter. So it's all good. Let's see. Jimbo's saying hello to Steve. Everyone's saying hello to Steve. It only controls 1 locomotive at a time. And the reason I'm not quite answering your question is because it's just the DCC controller. So you can have, you know, like a mainline track that squiggles throughout your layout, and you can switch the track power over to the Motorman, and you can run your single locomotive along that route. And that's what I'm planning to do for my N-scale layout. Is the main line will be on will be switchable. So I'll be here. Let me get it out. They sell a double pull, double throw switch, and what this allows you to do is you can switch it to the Motorman, and then whatever your track output is will go. The Motorman will control it, or you can switch it through off to normal, and then this can be your regular DCC system. So the way this works is this just goes right here. The track power just connects up to the track power, and then you just have your, you know, your 2 different, your DCC or DC in, and then your regular track power out. So it works. It works pretty well. That's the way I'm planning on setting it up. So let's cut these wires off. So yeah, the High Plains is asking if I didn't make this clear. The device from the Motorman it's an automatic reversing train shuttle controller is what they call it. So it is what is doing this here. So this back and forth that this is doing, that both of these tracks in the 2 different scales, so N and HO, are being controlled with Motormans. Yeah, the switch is great. The prices on this stuff too, I think, are incredible. The Motorman is $99, and that switch, I believe, is $25. Additional sensors, if you want intermediate sensors, it's $19 for a pair. Prices to me is just it's just great in my opinion. So let's get this wired up. I'll try to answer as many questions as I can, but I do also want to make sure I keep moving forward. So if you do have any questions, part 1 was Sunday, part 2 is tonight. Feel free to leave any comments down below, and I'll be sure to get to them. So I just cut off the ends of this, and now we're just going to do a little wire stripping. And we are doing this. This is going to be the track power. So we will flip this over, do a little twisty. And again, it doesn't matter which way the wires go. The device, the first time you power on this device, it will determine which is the first sensor it reaches and then kind of calibrate itself. So it doesn't really matter which way it goes first. The Motorman is a Iowa Scaled Engineering device. So Iowa Scaled Engineering makes this little device right here, known as the Proto Throttle. And the Motorman is another device they make. They also make something called Sound Bites, which is a little sound device. They've got one that's like crossing bells. They got one that's cicadas and different things like that. So yeah, it's Iowa Scaled Engineering, not Iowa State. Close though. There you go. Yeah, so I have a Circuitron AR2. There are companies that make DC versions, but the only version that I know of that is a complete all-in-one solution, you don't need extra stuff for DCC, is the Motorman. So you could theoretically hook everything up to JMRI, write a bunch of scripts in JMRI, and do this all in JMRI. This, it's all built in. Don't need anything else, which is what I really like. I was actually talking with a gentleman online today. He uses one for his testing of his locomotives. It works pretty well too for breaking in locomotives. I mean, that, you know, I've been breaking in that RDC back there using one. Split rock, I have no idea what a dilly bar is. So there we go. So that's track power. And for setup, all you'll need to do is basically connect it and disconnect it. And I say all you'll need to do as if Norm Miller is still here. I don't know if he's still in the chat, but he was here earlier. So the next thing to do, and I'm going to show you what I do. These cables are for the sensors, and there are, you know, just a bunch of wires, right? But it's got this great little connector on the end, so that makes it really easy to plug in. I believe it plugs in this way. It can only plug in one way. So plugs in real nice, and I did cut a little hole in the track so the track will be able to lay flat. But if you see, this is all kind of, it's a little bit of a mess of a wire. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do a little bit of braiding. I know that probably sounds a little bit weird. There are probably other, maybe even better solutions. But I take and I braid this a little bit, and it kind of it helps it sort of stay together, which, you know, you can't beat that. I'm gonna get a piece of tape, actually. Let's get a piece of tape for this, and we'll tape this down and then braid it a little bit. Yeah, Artie, you know, you gotta learn to do some hair if you want to do this. And you know, it's not a tight braid, but all I'm doing is just kind of getting a little bit of a braid going so that you know, it kind of just keeps it together. And you probably can't see what I'm doing, but I'm back here still braiding. Braiding away, braiding away. Maybe wrap around 3 fingers and zip ties would work too. Yes, so if I was setting this up at home and it was a permanent setup, then I wouldn't really worry about braiding it, because, you know, I know exactly where the ends are going, and I know, you know, I know exactly where everything wants to be set up. Because this is a gift, and I don't know whether he's going to make it 48 inches. I don't know if he's going to make it, you know, shorter or longer. I don't know if he's going to want it to run to the left or to the right. So, you know, for that reason, I'm, you know, I'm doing a little bit of this braiding thing here, and I'm making a little bit of a mess down here on the end as I'm trying to braid this. The end is getting tangled on me, so I probably should have done one of these before the show, and then just done the second one. Done the second one after the show. So what we're gonna do now is I'm trying to get to the end of this. So the white one, the white wire is the sense wire, the intelligent wire, I guess. It's not really the right way to say it. It's the wire that provides the feedback, is what it is. So the white wire is going to go in where it says left and right, and then the black wire is the ground wire, and the red wire is the positive wire. So since the positive wire and the ground wire all get wired together, I actually have to braid this other one first before we can wire that up. So now you're going to get to watch me braid up another one. Thank you, Derail Daryl. Appreciate it. There's no key. Although if you want a key, we might be able to work something out. We could put a key switch on it so that when you flip the key switch on, everything will start working. I am just making spaghetti over here. So the other thing that I have is I use sometimes that spiral. Man, I really made a spaghetti out of this. And this is the one I haven't even started braiding yet, and it's turned into spaghetti. I use that spiral like cable stuff sometimes, and that's actually what I did for mine, is I used these spiral stuff. So I thought with the New York system, it was cutting the red wire. They are back to front. You can't braid wire with an electric drill, but you could twist wire with an electric drill. So if you are using something that needs to be twisted, not braided, you could use an electric drill to do that. So yeah, I don't want to, you know, I mean, you know, when he figures it out and gets it all, you know, set up, then we can maybe talk about shortening up some wires. But until then, you know, I want to give us the best chance of success over here. So, all right, so here's the one. Let's see if you can watch me braid again for a little bit. I'm going to try and do this a little bit further at the end so I get a little bit less tangles. Is anybody impressed that I actually know how to braid something, or did everyone assume that was something that I would know how to do? Dennis, you're waiting for the smoke. Hopefully before 9 o'clock, I'll have this on the track, and we can take a look and see if we can make any smoke or not. This was definitely much faster to do this out near the end, although then I know it wasn't on camera. Chaska wants to learn how to braid. Yeah. All right, we're getting close. We're getting close. I'm getting there. I can pretty much guarantee that when Norm gets these cables, these wires are probably going to be pretty well tangled. But that's just going to be the way it is. So the red wires are going to go in the one labeled 12 volt. Why don't we'll see if I can actually keep this in frame or not. So 12 volt is this one at the very, very bottom. So we're going to see. Let me turn this like this actually, because I might be able to do that. Bernard, knowing me, that will end up being my my first NMRA clinic. Okay. So, I'm trying to keep it in the camera shot, which is making it a little harder. All right, there we go. So the red is now attached. Let's get these out of the way. So now we'll go with these black ones here. And we're going to just do the same thing, but in the next one over, which is labeled GND for ground. Black and red being the standard wiring colors for low voltage. If you're hearing clicking, I wonder if you're hearing the LGB train up above. I do have up above, I've got the trains running. Oh, the LGB seems to have stopped. Looks like a large frog juicer. I don't know that it's quite a frog juicer, but the ticking could be from that, although it was stopped. So I don't know what else it might be. So we now have two white wires, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the left and the right, which are the end sensors. You can use, obviously, these sensors that come with it. You could also use block detection sensors as well, which is kind of a nice thing to be able to use. All right, so now that we got that hooked up, what I've got now, let's try not to get these too tangled. So what I got now, let me zoom out. All right, so now what I have is I've got one connected out of the one side, and then I've got the other one connected out of the other side. So what we're going to do is we're going to plug one into number 2. Did you hear what I just did there? We're going to plug one into number 2. Again, doesn't matter which one you plug in to each, but that one's going to go there. This one is going to go into here. And this track This is probably the hardest part, is going to be just getting those in. Okay, so those both snapped in. The other thing that we have to connect now is going to be this to the track power. So let's just flip this over. And now we're going to connect this to the track power. Now, I actually want my cables to run up that way. I want these sensors to the farther outside. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to switch them, switch sides, just so that the cables are all running to the back. And yeah, I mean, depending on the length you want, you can obviously make these cables much neater. Once, you know, we know exactly what all of the lengths are going to be. So now, because I'm a big fan of safety first, what we are going to do is we're going to add the bumpers before we do anything else, because I do not want to dump anything on the floor today. So this is Kato Unitrack. They come with little built-in coupler joiner things. The plastic actually physically holds them together, and then there is a joiner that makes the electrical connection. So if you just put them on a flat surface, which I think is the easiest way to do it, and you just slide them together until you hear the snap. If you notice, you may be able to notice these ties here are white, and these ties back here show up as like a brown or a darker color. This is their concrete series, and this is their wood tie series. It's just what was available. So we are going to put the two together, and just because we've got a little bit of room here in the center, we can take out our extension tracks, at least one of them. I don't think we can get two on here. Maybe we can get two. Let's see if we can get two in. And these are concrete as well, so all right. So that's essentially the build. The only real thing left for me to do is plug this in. And I am going to do that right up here. And so this plugs into a little barrel jack on the side here, and you'll see it come on. And so right away, it's already set. It's already set to DC mode. So if you notice, it came up right away. I've got the speed set at 90%. So it came right up at 90%. But if you notice over here, it says LRN. And what that's doing now is it is waiting to see which sensor gets set off first. And depending on which sensor gets set off first, then it'll determine which way it goes. So for example, if I come and block this sensor, you see it changed to FDC and then FTR. So it just paused. Now it's going in reverse. Then when I come and cover the other sensor, it goes to RDC, then RTF, and then goes in forward. So we've got this all working now on the bench. So it's a little hard to see what it's saying right now, but the train is going forward in this direction now because I touched the one on this side first, or I should say I covered it up first. So if you rub your hand over it, it automatically ramps down, pauses, ramps back up. The train now is going this direction. Cover it up again. Now it's going back in the other direction. So, David, this is the reversing trolley system for DCC and DC. And this is pretty much right out of the box. I mean, I just had to connect some track together, put the two sensors connected, and connect up the power, and we're good to go. So we're going to unplug this now that we know that it all works. I'm going to grab the RDC in a second when it comes back to the center here, if it comes back to the center. And we will see, we are going to see if it's going to work. So what's going to happen is I'm going to plug the power in. It is going to take off in one direction or the other. I don't know which. It doesn't matter which. Whichever sensor it gets to first, that is what it is then going to consider forward. And from then on, theoretically, it'll just start going back and forth. So now it knows that direction, this direction is forward. So if you watch the controller, it'll say reverse when going in this direction and forward going in the other direction. Yeah. As Artie says, the problem is that there were no issues when turning it on. So I will wrap this up in a way where it'll be very simple to just plug in the two sensors and then connect up the track power, and it'll be good to go. Let's see, I actually have this view as well. We can watch it from a little bit of a different view as well. So, yes, it took me, 2 hours to, or 2 hours. Yeah, basically 2 hours to set up while having conversations with everybody. So Norm Miller says he's going to put it on his bookcase, length between 4 or 5 feet. There are 2 more pieces right here. So this is, let's see, what is this right now? The length here right now, this is about 46 inches. So if you add 1 more piece, you'll get up to like 5 feet. If you add in the 1 more piece, go up to 6 feet. You can add in the 2 pieces. So yeah, I love these things. As I mentioned, I've got them running in the back behind every stream. I think I can't speak more highly about it. What am I beating you with? So 2 questions that we'll get to. DB Tech is asking, what is the cost? The cost for the Motorman, which includes this device here, it includes both sensors, and it includes the power supply, is $99. So all you need to pay for outside of that $99 to get this to work is whatever track that you want to run it on. Norman, I don't know the answer, how far you could go. Probably 20, 30 feet, I would say. Especially if you put the track feed in the center. I'm putting the track feed on the end because at 4 or 5 feet doesn't really matter. But you can make it probably as long as you want. So let's change something just for the fun of it. If you notice, when it gets to the end, it's pausing for about 2 seconds, and then it's moving back forward again. So let's zoom in just a little bit. Zoom back out so we can see it. So it's pausing for about 2 seconds and then moving. What we can do is we can go into the configuration here, and we can scroll down to endpoint delay. I'm going to select endpoint delay, set it 2 seconds right now. Let's increase that to 4 seconds. So now when I hit save and go back, I don't think I have to restart it. Let's see. Yep. So you can see it's already now pausing at the end. So DB Tech, what's on here now, so this this is a DC locomotive. What is back here, this is a DCC locomotive. They're both being controlled off the Motorman. You can only do one or the other. You can't do both at the same time. Well, you would just load the configuration, right? So if I wanted to switch this to DCC, I would go to Configure. I would go to DC and DCC output. Oops, down. Select that. And then I would switch it from DC track output to DCC track output. And then you could set up to 14 different configurations. So you can set it for 14 different locomotives, 14 different DCC locomotives, and then just call up the different configurations. So it does have, you know, Locomotive Config. Oh, that was the wrong one. Back. Up. So we've got Locomotive Config, which you can see there's all of these slots. The slots are for the 14 DCC locomotives. You've got accessory control, which allows you to set up DCC accessories. So when it hits a sensor, it will it'll trigger some DCC accessory. Then we've got endpoint delay, midpoint enable, pause on starts if you don't want it to just start running right away, stop, relearns direction. So you can at any point hit the stop button and it'll stop, and then you could just have it basically reset itself so it'll refigure out which is left and right. And then the backlight timeout. You can have the backlight not timeout or timeout after a different amount of time. So it's pretty cool. It shows you the amperage, it shows you the voltage. So DC at 90%, it's 8.5 volts. Gives you an amperage reading, and you know, it's all pretty there. Derail Daryl says, Heath, what about the sound factor with this? There is no sound. The Motorman doesn't make any sound. The only sound is the sound that the locomotive makes. So, you know, it's a DC motor in a Proto 1000 locomotive, so it's pretty quiet. Yep, $99 for the Motorman, everything but the track, well, and the locomotive. So, what I'm gonna do now that I've got this going, I'm gonna slide this out of the way, and I am going to grab a piece of foam because I'm going to take this locomotive apart. I don't know what happened, but one of the windows is knocked out. So feel free to ask some questions. While you are asking questions, I am going to do a little bit of work on the windows on this locomotive, and I'll try and catch as many questions as I can. On my module, using a 6-foot siding, can I run a DCC locomotive onto the track, then engage the Motorman? Would I need to re-enter the cab number? So if you had this guy, what you would do is you would set it to normal. You would drive your DCC locomotive onto the track, then you would switch it to Motorman, and you would load the configuration for whatever the DCC number is of the locomotive that you just did. So you would need this switch to switch from your DCC system to the other system. Roy Hardwick wants to know where the blue smoke is, and as usual, this was one of my projects, so there was no blue smoke. Yeah, Otter Creek, my plan is actually for my layout behind me that it'll make the entire layout, so it should make the whole U shape as well. So unfortunately, to take these couplers off, you have to completely take the coupler box off. Hopefully, I will be able to get it back together. But coupler box comes off, couplers come off obviously, and then there are 4 screws that hold this shell on. And once I get that off, I should just be able to pop this out and grab that window and just pop that window right back in. Oh, interesting. There are not any screws on this side. There are only screws on this side. This was an eBay purchase, so I think it was probably used. So somebody may have opened it up at some point and not put all the screws in, but as you see, it was running just fine. What's the largest scale it'll work with? So it is a, Joey, it is a 12 volt power supply. So it's a 12 volt system. So it'll, use anything basically that is, you could use anything 12 volt with it. Let's see. There are no screws. So the one side's coming up, but this side's not coming up. And I don't know why. All right, let's turn this over. Try not to knock any more windows out as I pull it off. Seems like it's still anyone got any of these Proto 1000s? Anyone know why it's not coming off? Are there little tabs that maybe I have to see? This is the part where the blue smoke might come out. I am not really sure why this is not coming off. Do these trucks pop off? There are no screws, but this is not coming apart. Anyone got any thoughts? Oh, and it didn't go away again. Thank you, Mr. Trackside Mike, for the super sticker. Much, much, much appreciated. Okay, large screwdriver and hammer. Yeah, I took out the screws by this side, but I don't see any screws on this side that need to come out. I've already taken the coupler boxes off. Which that was the only thing that I understood that needed to come off on this one side. There are these weird like screw things here, but they don't seem to be holding it on, because this'll... I cannot tell. Well, I might need to do more YouTubing. What did you get 2 of for, yes, Artie, I know, I took the screws out already and it's still not coming out. That's what I'm trying to figure out, what else it might be. I hope the previous owner didn't glue it, but that could be. That could be the problem, which would be very, very much a bummer if they did, but I don't know. I don't know the answer. Let me, I'm trying to figure out why this thing didn't work. It shows it should work. It should have gone away. I don't know why it didn't go away. Oh, let's see. Maybe it's working again. Oh, are there screws way down in there? I think I might have found where the screws are. There's two really deep holes. They might be way down there. Yep, there is a screw way down there. So let's see, maybe those are the screws way down in that hole. Yeah, Tim, I knew it went away. I just, on the back end, I'm fighting with it. Hey, that was the trick. That was the trick. So I didn't know that. So there are two screws like right here on the surface, and then there are two screws way down in these holes on the other end. And that seems to be what was needed to, hopefully, that's all that was needed. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, there we go. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. All right, so we're going to move this off to the side, and it does have seats. So this goes off to the side here. Here's one of the little screws that was in that hole. Looks like they're all the same size, and I'm just trying to get the other one out just so I don't lose it anywhere. Well, we'll get to that in a second. So it is this window over here that I knocked out. Let me get this. Don't let the people fall out. Thank you. Yeah, those deep holes. Thanks, Artie. I thought when I watched the video earlier today, apparently I didn't pay attention enough, because I thought all four of them were on the surface there. I didn't realize that one was so deep. All right, so this is just gonna slap in there. And what it is this guy here. Uh-oh. And that's hard to get in there. I may need to, oh, there we go. So the question is, do I need to glue it? Yes, I'm gonna need to glue it. So I got some Canopy Glue. We're gonna grab a pair of tweezers and Canopy Glue just so that it's actually, I don't know, it's technically, it's this stuff, micro crystal clear, which is probably cheaper if you just buy Canopy Glue, but that's what I got. Here's some tweezers, and let's find something to apply the glue so I don't make a big mess. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the bottom, a little bit of glue on the top, and then just drop this guy in there, which is right over here on this side now. Hey, Barn Full of Trains, welcome. Yeah, bar stains on the seats, yeah. Good show tonight. Thanks, Trackside Mike, appreciate it. Been silently watching, got it 4 a.m. Woof. That is way too early for me. So I am going to finish this up, put this back together. I will do another test to make sure everything works, and then I will pack it up and ship it out. For people that don't know, Canopy Glue dries. Crystal clear is that's the name of this, is crystal clear, right? But the idea is that it does dry crystal clear, so it's a good solution for windows, because if you do get paint on the windows, it won't won't ruin the window. So now, of course, I gotta get it to sit in there. There we go. There we go. Okay. Oh, it's not quite sitting flat. There we go. Yeah, Randall, I've been getting a lot of calls at 12 and 1, and then I get calls at 4 a.m. Because one of the projects I'm working on is 24/7, and there's always something going wrong, so I'm always getting phone calls. So Heath has a couple of whirlpools up there. Where do I have a whirlpool? So now we're going to put this back together, and we'll see how quickly I can do this. So one of these holes still has the screw in it, which is this one. So we'll do that one first. And then we'll put this other one in. Something tells me that the coupler boxes on this are not going to be quite as hard as doing the coupler boxes on N-scale stuff, or at least I am hoping that they will not be. NS Cole, are you heading out to Nashville? Don is over there right now sending pictures on the Discord. While I'm closing this up, I almost completely forgot. I need to send the thank you. So thank you, everybody. I'll be back in 30 seconds because I didn't make it longer yet, and I'll keep putting this back together again. We'll do one final test, so don't go away because the blue smoke might still get released. But thank you.
It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity.
All right, so we're on to the coupler boxes now. I have never done this with an HO scale before, so this could be interesting. This could end up becoming the most amusing part of tonight's stream, just because I have not done this before. Feel free to yell out tricks and tips and tricks, because as of right now, I seem to be. Oh, there we go. There we go. So now I got to pick up the screw and get it in the hole, and I should be home free. If I can get this lined up. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Put the coupler in the box and put it in from the end. Oh, that's a good idea. That is a great idea. So let's see. So just put it together first. Let's see. Coupler here. Make sure I've got this the right way up. And slide this in. Put the screw in. And Tim, that definitely worked easier than what I did the first time. If I can find the hole for it though. Trying to find the hole in the bottom. Oop, come on. Nope, that's not it. There we go. Now I got it. Roy, man, I was having a hard time for a second there. Oh, no, I thought I had it, but I didn't. I thought I was in. I need to. Oh, okay, it was further out than I thought it was. Further, like the coupler was further away. So let's test this puppy one last time. because I like to make sure that it works before I send it, and just got to be careful not to touch any of the windows. Great, here we go. One last test. Hopefully nothing will just like that, the assembly of a Motorman with an RDC on some Kato Unitrack, and I think it really is that simple. Artie, I apologize. Nothing went wrong. It did go pretty smoothly. I'll have to work on causing more issues, but I am going to pack up and head out so I can get a little bit of sleep myself. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming. Norm, I will send you the tracking, and Norm is saying, great job, Heath. Thank you. Remind my daughter that Sunday is Father's Day. This gift right here is going to Norm. So, Norm, you probably won't get it by Father's Day, but you should get it sometime next week. And Jimbo, go back to part 1, and I talk all about the sensors. A lot of information in part 1 about the sensors. So, from the city that never sleeps, farewell, model citizens.
It's all about humanity.